Everyone in the town thought Elena Grant was the perfect mother. Single, strong, beautiful in a strange, haunting way, and always so involved in her twin sons' lives. Isaac and Ian were quiet boys, respectful, a little too well-mannered for their age. Like they were raised in a house where you whispered your thoughts and always smiled when someone looked at you. But behind the curtains of that Victorian-style house with the ivy-wrapped porch was a family so twisted, so emotionally coiled, around their matriarch, that nobody really knew who they were anymore, not even the boys. Isaac was the first to question things. He was 19 now in college, coming home on weekends like a loyal son. Elena had insisted. "I just need to see your face once a week, baby. That's not too much to ask from your mother, is it?" And how could he say no? The way she looked at him when she asked, like her heart would break if he didn't come home, made his chest tighten. Guilt was a language she spoke fluently. Ian still lived at home. He didn't see the problem. "She's just lonely," he'd say, brushing off Isaac's growing discomfort. "After everything she sacrificed for us, she deserves to need us a little." But Isaac knew something was off. It started with how she touched him, a hand on his cheek that lingered too long, a back rub that slid too low. Once he caught her watching him change, eyes locked on his body like she didn't realize it was wrong. When he confronted her, she'd smiled softly and said, "You're a man now. I'm just proud of how you've grown." There were no boundaries in that house. Eleanor walked into the bathroom while they showered. She washed their sheets herself, always commenting on the scent. "Still smells like my baby boys." And at night, if either of them left their bedroom doors open even a crack, she'd slip in and sit at the edge of the bed. Sometimes she cried. Sometimes she just sat there, stroking their hair, whispering stories from when they were little. "She needs help," Isaac had said one night, after finding her asleep in Ian's bed, with her arm wrapped tightly around him. "This isn't normal," Ian didn't answer. He didn't want to talk about it, but the worst came when Isaac brought a girl home. Emma, blonde, bright-eyed, full of laughter, the kind of girl who lit up a room without trying. Elena smiled when she met her, said all the right things. Maid, dinner, laughed at Emma's jokes, but the smile never reached her eyes. And when Emma left, Elena sat on the porch staring out into the darkness for hours. Isaac found her there, still in her apron, glass of wine untouched beside her. "You're slipping away," she whispered without looking at him. "No, I'm just growing up." Same thing. That night, Elena locked herself in her room and blasted old music, lullabies she used to hum when they were toddlers. The next morning, Emma called and said she didn't think she could come around anymore. "Your mom is intense," she said. "I don't think she likes me." Isaac tried to fight it. Tried to stay away longer, to let the house breathe without him. But Elena grew sicker, at least that's what Ian said. She wasn't eating, wasn't sleeping. She fainted once. Isaac came back, of course. She cried when she saw him. Hugged. Him so tight it felt like she was trying to pull him inside her, back into her womb. "I just want things to stay like they were," she said over and over. "Just you, me, and Ian, that was perfect. Why did it have to change?" Isaac knew then it wasn't about love, it was about control, and she would burn the world before letting her sons live outside the one she built for them. Elena started changing after Isaac returned. Not in the way you'd expect from a grieving mother holding on too tight, but in a calculated, unsettling way. Her sadness didn't come in waves anymore. It had structure now, purpose. Isaac could feel it, like a chess player planning 10 moves ahead. She stopped crying and started smiling again, but not like before. This smile was softer, more seductive in a way that made his stomach twist. The kind of smile that made him feel guilty for even noticing it. But he did, and she knew it. "You look tense," she said one evening, placing her hands on his shoulders while he sat at the kitchen table. "Want me to rub it out for you, like I used to?" "No," he said quickly, standing up. "I'm fine." She didn't say anything, just gave that slow blink she always gave when she was disappointed, like he'd hurt her without raising a hand. Ian watched everything, like he didn't see it. Or maybe he didn't want to see it. Isaac wasn't sure anymore. They were all caught in her web, but Ian had stopped struggling long ago. "She's just affectionate," Ian said again when Isaac brought it up. "You're reading too much into it. You've been gone a lot, man. Maybe you forgot how close we all used to be. No, Isaac said quietly. I remember, that's the problem. Elena's manipulation grew more deliberate. She cooked only Isaac's favorite meals now, made his bed every morning, humming while she smoothed out the covers like she was tucking in a child. One night, he found her in his room again, sitting on the floor beside his bed holding a photo album. You were such a beautiful baby, she whispered. I used to hold you for hours just staring. You and Ian were everything, you still are. He didn't know what to say. He stayed quiet, pretending to fall asleep, but he felt her hand slide up onto the mattress, brushing the sheets like she wanted to reach for him but didn't. Eventually, she left. The next morning, there were fresh pancakes on the table and a note, "Don't leave me again, you belong here." Isaac started sleeping with his door locked, but locking a door doesn't stop a storm from getting in. It just gives you time to listen to it coming. Then, one morning, Isaac's phone was gone. He tore his room apart. Elena helped him search, but kept glancing at the laundry room where she never let anyone go. He didn't push it then, but he knew. 2 days later, his laptop wouldn't start. Ian said it probably got a virus. But Isaac was sure Elena had done something. She was cutting him off piece by piece, from the outside world, from his friends, from any escape. Emma texted from an unknown number. "Did you block me? Or is this your mom again?" He never got the chance to reply. The number went dead. By the end of that week, Elena started wearing makeup more often, not like a mother, not like the warm, simple woman he remembered from childhood. Her lips were redder, her shirts lower, her presence more deliberate. Isaac caught her standing in front of his mirror once, running her fingers down her neck and into her blouse while watching herself. She didn't know he was there. Or maybe she did. Everything felt wrong, like the house itself was infected with her obsession. One night after she made lasagna and lit candles for dinner like it was a date, Isaac lost it. "What is this?" he snapped. "Why are you acting like we're not your kids? You don't treat Ian like this." She tilted her head, calm and terrifying. "That's because Ian never tried to leave me." He stood up from the table, heart racing. "You don't own me," he said. "I made you," she whispered, rising slowly. "I gave you every breath you've ever had, and I can take it back." Isaac backed away, bumping into the doorframe. He'd never seen that look in her eyes before, not even when their father died. It wasn't grief, it wasn't fear, it was possession. And for the first time, Isaac understood. She wasn't just lonely, she was delusional. And if she couldn't keep her sons with love, she would keep them with fear. Or worse. Isaac stopped sleeping. Even with the door locked, he didn't feel safe. He kept a chair pressed up under the doorknob at night, and a small knife from the kitchen tucked under his pillow. It was stupid, he knew that. But his instincts screamed something worse was coming. The house was no longer a home. It was a cage lined with soft words and poisoned touches. Elena floated through the rooms like a ghost in silk, smiling, humming, always watching. Her presence was constant. Isaac couldn't even shower without her standing outside the door. "Don't lock it, sweetheart," she once said through the wood. "What if you slip? What if you get hurt and I can't get to you?" He didn't answer, just stood under the water, fists clenched, trying to scrub her out of his memory. He tried to talk to Ian, again. "Really talk. We need to get out," Isaac whispered one night in Ian's room, careful not to raise his voice. "She's not okay. This is going to get worse." Ian sat on the edge of his bed, staring down at his hands. He looked like he hadn't slept in days either. "I know," he finally said. His voice was flat, empty. Isaac blinked. "Then why haven't you done anything?" Ian looked up, and for the first time, Isaac saw something cracked in his brother's eyes. Not fear, not denial, something deeper, like guilt mixed with resignation. "Because she's already broken me," Ian whispered. "You still think you've got a chance to escape? I know better." Isaac's stomach turned. What does that mean? But Ian didn't answer. He just stood and walked to the window, staring out into the night. "I should have left with you when I had the chance," he said, "but I stayed, and now I don't know who I am without her." That night, Isaac dreamed of the house burning down around him. His mother stood in the flames untouched, smiling as the smoke choked him. He woke up to find his door wide open. The chair had been moved. The knife was gone. and Elena was sitting on the edge of his bed, her hand gently stroking his arm. "We're tossing and turning," she whispered. "I didn't want you to wake up alone." He shoved her hand off him and sat up, heart racing. "Get out." She blinked slowly. "Don't talk to me like that. Get out, out." She stood slowly, brushing the wrinkles from her nightgown, and gave a half smile. "You'll see, Isaac. One day you'll understand. A mother's love. It's stronger than anything. Even freedom." The next morning Isaac packed a bag. He didn't tell Ian. He couldn't risk Eleanor finding out. He waited until she went to the store, a rare thing but necessary when she needed things she couldn't control from home. As soon as she was gone, he ran downstairs, grabbed his bag and bolted out the front door. But the driveway was empty. Her car was still there. She hadn't gone anywhere, and the front gate, normally unlocked, was chained shut from the outside. Like someone was preparing for this moment. Like she knew. Isaac turned back to the house and saw her standing at the window, curtain barely parted, eyes locked on him, watching, smiling. He didn't go back inside, not yet. He ran around the side of the house to the fence, tried to climb it, but it was lined with nails all pointing inwards. He hadn't noticed that before. How long had it been like that? When he returned to the front yard, the door was open. Eleanor stood in the doorway, in a white dress like something out of a funeral or a wedding. Her hair was tied back neatly and there was no smile this time, just calm. "I knew this day would come," she said. "You need help," Isaac snapped. "You're sick." "I'm devoted," she corrected. "There's a difference." Isaac clutched his bag tighter. "I'm leaving." "You already left me once," she said. "And look what it did to you. Look how broken you've become." He stepped forward slowly. "You can't keep me here." "I can. And I will." Her voice was soft, but the weight behind it hit him, like a wall. Isaac looked past her into the hallway. Ian stood there, still and pale. "Help me," Isaac said. Ian didn't move. Elena reached out, placing a hand gently on Isaac's cheek. "Don't make me do something we'll both regret." That's when Isaac realized this wasn't about love, this was about control, about obsession, and she had no line she wouldn't cross. Isaac didn't sleep at all that night. Not that he could. Not with the door ripped off its hinges. After the escape attempt, Elena had calmly unscrewed the hinges from his bedroom door while he watched. No yelling, no threats, just a soft humming and a screwdriver turning like it was part of her morning routine. "You don't get privacy when you betray your mother," she said, carrying the door away like a carpenter moving a piece of ruined wood. That night, she sat in the hallway in her rocking chair, just far enough that Isaac couldn't see her face, but close enough that he could hear her breathing. Long, steady inhales. Sometimes she whispered things, sometimes she sang lullabies, but mostly she just watched. Ian tried to talk to him again in the kitchen the next day when Eleanor went to take a bath. "She's worse than I thought," Isaac said quietly, eyes darting toward the ceiling where the water was running. "She wasn't always like this," Ian murmured. "After Dad died, she just unraveled, and I think she's always been a little off, but he kept her tethered. Once he was gone, she latched onto us." Ian nodded. Isaac stared at him. "Why didn't you leave?" "You're not a kid. You could have walked away." Ian's face twisted like he was trying to swallow something bitter. "Because she made me feel like I owed her. Every time I packed a bag, she cried like her heart was about to stop. Said she gave up her life to raise us. Said she couldn't survive without me." Isaac clenched his jaw. "That's emotional blackmail." Ian looked up slowly. "It's more than that." "What do you mean?" "I mean," Ian whispered, lowering his voice, "there are things you don't know. Things she said to me when you were gone. Things she did." Isaac's blood turned cold. "Like what?" But before Ian could answer, the water upstairs stopped. Footsteps. Isaac turned toward the hallway and instantly both boys fell silent. Elena descended the stairs in a white robe, her wet hair wrapped in a towel. Her eyes scanned the kitchen like a hawk. She said nothing at first, just walked to the fridge and poured herself a glass of orange juice. Then, while sipping it, she smiled faintly and said, "Talking about me?" Isaac didn't reply. Ian forced a laugh. Just saying how good dinner was last night. Eleanor's eyes lingered on him. Lying doesn't suit you, sweetheart. Then she turned to Isaac. Come upstairs. I need help brushing my hair. He looked at Ian, silently pleading. Ian looked away. Elena's voice hardened. Now. He followed her. Upstairs, she sat on her vanity stool and handed him the brush. Her robe hung loosely around her shoulders. Isaac gripped the brush tight enough to crack it. Start at the ends, she said, voice soft again. Be gentle. He brushed slowly, staring at the mirror, trying not to look at her exposed skin, trying not to scream. I used to do this with your father, she whispered. He loved brushing my hair. He said it calmed him, that it made him feel connected to me. Isaac said nothing. I miss being touched, she said. Not like that. I just mean closeness, skin, warmth, being needed. He didn't respond. She turned to face him. I would have given you anything, Isaac, she said, and now you treat me like I'm a monster. You're not a monster, he said, heart pounding. You're just sick. Eleanor's face twitched. She stood slowly, robe shifting dangerously. I'm not sick, she said. I'm alone, and I'm desperate, and I would rather die than let this family fall apart. She moved closer. He stepped back. Then she whispered, You don't understand now, but you will, you and Ian both. He ran, down the stairs, out the back. He didn't care about the nails anymore. He jumped the fence and tore his palm open on the metal. But he didn't stop running, not until he reached the neighbor's house 2 blocks down. He pounded on the door until the old woman answered in a bathrobe. Please, he gasped. Call the police, she won't let us leave. But the woman blinked at him, confused. Who won't let you leave, honey? Eleanor. My mother. She's not right. She's dangerous. The woman stared for a long second. Then she slowly said, Elena, but she told me you two moved away months ago. Isaac's blood ran cold. The woman shook her head. She said she was living alone now. The cops came eventually. Isaac sat on the old woman's porch, bleeding from his hand and shaking. He kept looking back toward the street, half expecting to see Elena's silhouette coming through the dark, arms wide open like she was welcoming a lost son back home. But she didn't come. When the police arrived, Isaac stood immediately, desperate, talking fast. My mother's not well. She's holding my brother in that house. She's been manipulating us, controlling us. Please, you have to check on him. The officers exchanged a glance, the kind that said, another domestic call. Mixed with, let's hope this isn't a mess, one of them asked. What's your name, son? Isaac Grant. And your mother? Elena Grant. We live 2 blocks over. The other officer pulled out a notepad. Can you tell us what exactly happened? Why do you think your brother's in danger? Isaac swallowed hard. Because I lived there, and I barely got out. They followed him back when they arrived. At the house, everything was calm. Too calm. The porch light was on. Wind chimes danced lazily in the breeze. The gate was unlocked now. The door stood slightly open, as if inviting them in. Elena greeted them in a soft pink dress, a pie cooling, on the kitchen counter behind her. She looked like a 1950s TV mom. Officers, she said, genuinely surprised. What's going on? Ma'am, one of them said. We're here to conduct a wellness check. Your son, Isaac, came to us with some concerns about the safety of your other son. Her eyes widened. Not angry, not afraid, just disappointed. Isaac, she said softly, looking past the officer, you didn't need to do this. Where's Ian? He demanded, stepping forward. Elena stepped aside. Inside, of course. He's fine. You can speak with him. The officers nodded, walking in. Isaac followed close behind. The house smelled like cinnamon and bleach. Ian was sitting on the couch, pale and quiet, staring at the blank TV screen. One officer knelt beside him. Hey, buddy, you all right? Ian nodded slowly. Do you feel safe here with your mom? Ian blinked once. His lips moved, but it took a second for the sound to come out. Yes. Isaac stared at him in disbelief. Ian, no. Tell them what? You told me. Tell them what she's been doing. But Ian just stared at the wall. Elena stepped in behind them. He's tired. We've had a rough week. I've been trying to help him through some things. Teenage boys, you know. So sensitive. I'm not a teenager, Ian said flatly. I'm 20. One of the officers turned to Isaac. Sir, your brother says he's safe. He's an adult. Unless he tells us otherwise, we don't have much authority here. Isaac's voice cracked. She's been grooming him. She manipulates us. She's obsessed. He hesitated, unsure how to say the rest. She watches us sleep. She touches us. That got their attention. The officers looked at Elena again, but she only tilted her head. My sons are disturbed right now, especially Isaac. He left college under stressful circumstances. Depression, anxiety. His professors called me, worried. She's lying, Isaac shouted. I left because I couldn't focus with her calling every hour and begging me to come back. Elena's voice dropped into that cold, calm register again. And I begged, because I was afraid of what you'd do to yourself. The officers stood silently for a moment. One of them cleared his throat. Ma'am, we'd like to speak with you privately. She smiled and nodded, leading them into the dining room. Isaac sat beside Ian, grabbing his arm. Please, tell them. Just say one thing. Ian wouldn't look at him. I can't, he whispered. Why? Because if I speak up, she'll break me again. Isaac stared. She already has. A few minutes later, the officers returned. Ma'am, we'll be filing a report, one of them said carefully, but unless your sons file charges or ask to be removed, we can't force anything today. Then he turned to Isaac. You're free to leave if you want. We suggest staying with a friend or extended family for a few days. Isaac looked at Ian again, but his brother wouldn't meet his eyes. He walked out alone. The last thing he heard before the door closed behind him was Eleanor's voice, sweet and casual. Would you officers like a slice of pie before you go? Isaac didn't sleep for 2 days. He stayed in a rundown motel outside of town, staring at the ceiling, waiting for a knock that never came. He couldn't stop picturing that damn house, the peeling wallpaper, the candles always lit at dinner, the way Elena's voice dropped whenever she didn't get what she wanted. And Ian, God, Ian, he'd left him behind. Not because he wanted to, but because he couldn't save him. Not alone, he called child services, adult protective services, even sent a long email to a lawyer he found online that handled family abuse cases. But without evidence, without Ian, there was nothing they could do. The system, it seemed, didn't know how to process a mother who could ruin her sons with nothing but kindness and control. By the 3rd day, Isaac went back. He told himself it was to try one last time. Just to talk to Ian, just to see if he was still there, still him. But deep down he knew it wasn't just about Ian. It was about facing her. It was about ending whatever this was, one way or another. The house looked the same. Too clean, too calm. A storm wearing a mask. He didn't knock this time, he just walked in. Elena was at the table painting her nails. She didn't look surprised. I knew you'd come back, she said without looking up. You always do. Where's Ian? Upstairs. Sleeping. He had a rough night. Isaac stepped inside, closing the door behind him. We need to talk. She looked up then. That smile again. That fake motherly sweetness over something bottomless and dark. I tried everything, she said. Everything to keep us together. You just kept running. I was trying to survive. Eleanor stood. You were trying to forget who raised. You who loved you more than anyone ever could. I was your mother, your comfort, your first love. Isaac flinched. You're sick. I'm real, she whispered. I gave you everything. And when I couldn't have your love as a child's anymore, I tried to keep it another way. By ruining us? By making you mine? She took a step forward. Isaac backed away, pulling the small voice recorder from his jacket pocket. It was already running. I'm done playing games, he said. I came back to get Ian. And if you don't let him go, this recording goes to the police, the press, everyone. She laughed, actually laughed. You think they'll believe you? She said, stepping closer. I've been preparing for this for years. You were gone for almost a year. I've got messages from your school doctors. I have paperwork, Isaac. I made sure of it, because I knew one day you'd come back and you'd want to burn it all down. I don't care what they believe, he said, because I believe me. And when Ian finally speaks, they'll listen. For the first time, she looked afraid, but only for a second. Then she ran straight up the stairs. Isaac chased her, heart pounding 2 steps at a time. He found her at the top, pounding on Ian's locked door. "Don't listen to him," she screamed. "He's trying to tear us apart." "Ian," Isaac shouted, "open the door, please." Inside, nothing. No sound. Then slow footsteps. The door opened. Ian stood there, eyes tired, face pale, but in his hand was another recorder. "I heard everything," he said quietly. "And I recorded her too. Last night." Elena froze. Her mouth opened, then closed. Isaac stepped forward. "It's over." But she didn't answer. She just turned away and walked down the hall, into her bedroom, locked the door. They waited, silent, just listening. Then came a single sound, a drawer opening. Isaac's stomach dropped. He bolted down the hallway, kicking the door open with all his weight. She was sitting on the bed, her late husband's pistol in her lap. "Don't!" he shouted. She looked at him with tearless eyes. "I can't live in a world where my children hate me." "We don't hate you," Isaac said, trembling. "We just want to be free." "That's the same thing." He stepped closer, slow, hands raised. "Ian and we'll never forget you. We'll never stop trying to heal, but it ends here, Mom. You can't love someone by owning them." Her hands trembled. Then she smiled. "I never wanted to own you," she whispered. "I just wanted to be loved the way I loved you." The shot rang out so loud it felt like the whole house shattered. 3 months later, Isaac and Ian sat on a park bench. The house was sold. Their mother's name was still in the news. "The widow who went too far," they called her. They didn't. "Read the articles. I still hear her sometimes," Ian said, watching the trees. "In my dreams." Isaac nodded. "Yeah, me too." Silence for a while. Then Ian added, "But I'm starting to feel lighter." Isaac looked up at the sky, then at his brother. "So am I."